So you want to be financially free through property, but how many properties is too many? Before we even look into the properties, we need to understand why we're doing what we need to do in the first place. Why are we investing? Because some people, they're investing to put their kid in the property whilst they're going through university. For others, it's just actually, I just want to park a load of money as I'm in my day-to-day job. And for others, it's about creating financial freedom. The more you understand this, you then understand your need, and I say need like that because you don't need to be financially free, but it's definitely nice, right? But the more you understand why you're doing what you're doing and what risk appetite you have is going to allow you to better understand what property strategy and how many properties you need to get moving. So there's 4 key strategies you want to consider when you're getting involved in property. The first one is deal packaging. The best way of explaining this is you are an estate agent that represents the buyer instead of the seller. You match people together and get paid on a deal by deal basis upwards of £5,000. Next is buy to let. Boring, vanilla buy to lets. This is obviously where you buy, sometimes put a bit of money into, and then rent out your property, making your house somebody else's home, giving you a residual and passive income. Use the money from deal packaging to fund your buy-to-lets. Number 3 is HMOs, house of multiple occupancy. This is where 3 or more unrelated parties live in your property, and it can be a minimo, which is usually 3 bedrooms, up to a sui generis 7 or 8 bed house of multiple occupancy. This is a great way to monetize up to 3 times your buy-to-let, plus more complications, more advanced. Get your buy-to-let experience first. And finally, serviced accommodation, Airbnb, holiday home, booking.com, Silver Door. This is where instead of renting by the month and having a tenant, instead you have a guest paying a nightly fee. So every single day they're in, they'll pay per night. Now, I recommend this as a great strategy, but it can go wrong with people trashing the properties and things like that. So make sure you're building up to it. So how do you allocate these strategies to monetize with the lowest risk possible? The strategy behind every well-diversified portfolio starts with safety or limit of margin. What this means is, whilst it's exciting jumping into service accommodation, getting £1,000 a unit, it is incredibly high risk where you win it all or lose everything. And in my opinion, you want to start with boring, vanilla buy-to-lets, and if you've got the free time, start with deal packaging to get the funds. Now, you want 5 to 10 buy-to-let properties to really get well founded with the experience before you start looking into HMOs or serviced accommodation. Even then, what I would do is I would be putting in offers that work as a really good buy-to-let property, and then as it's going through conveyancing, I'd have my mindset on, could this be a house of multiple occupancy or a serviced accommodation? Essentially putting my buy-to-let property on steroids whilst understanding if I needed to fall back to the boring vanilla buy-to-let, I'd get anything but that in exciting returns. But how do you manage so many properties? And this is where today's video sponsor, Lendlord, comes into play. If you've been watching my videos recently, you will know I love the software and I love the team. It's completely free, and if you want to follow along, there's a link in the description now. Make sure to get it downloaded anywhere if you are at the beginning, or indeed 10 properties plus. Now, as you can see, I've got around £1 million of my portfolio in here. These are actually properties that I own. And what it does for me is it allows me to have a well-diverse portfolio all in one place. It means I don't have multiple spreadsheets, I don't have a load going on. And whether it's this software or anyone else's, you need to be making sure you've got everything in one place. The reason I particularly like Lendlord, apart from having everything there, it can also link to your bank account, which tracks when the rents come in. It tells you when your remortgages are coming up, giving you the best options and making sure you're getting the best product prices in play today, whilst analyzing the long-term growth of your portfolio. So make sure you get that. The link's below, and put in your property there. Now, everything used to be when you've got 10 properties or more, but the fact that this software is free, not a penny do you have to pay to have this software, I think it is absolutely remarkable. The way they make their money is by getting paid by lenders and things in the background if you choose to use them, which you will because they get the best rates. Now, the point is you have to have this software in play. So is there such thing as having too many properties? 3 final things I would consider is number 1, managing your risk. Even when you grow your portfolio of 20, 30, 40, 50 buy-to-lets or whatever strategy, you need to have buy-to-lets, boring, vanilla buy-to-lets at the core of it. So even now when I'm buying around 3 to 5 a month, almost all of them are still buy-to-let properties, and then service accommodation and others will be my outliers, because whilst it's cool and exciting, everything needs to fall back to that core if those strategies fade away. Number 2 is manage high quality properties. I would much rather have 10 properties that get a 7% net return in a strong capital growth area rather than those 12, 13, 14, 15% returns in a shit area, shit capital growth, sorry, but shit tenants that trash the properties, and it really does come back to kill you. So manage the properties and manage your ego within that, which goes me to number 3, managing your ego properly. Now, make sure that in property, you're following your dream, not anyone else's. I know I'm doing this YouTube channel, a lot of other people are as well, when they talk about having hundreds or thousands of property. And what I'm here to say to you is, I am obsessive. I am a property addict, not just a property investor or property entrepreneur. And so, yes, I want to build my conglomerate of property portfolios, my empire, but that doesn't mean anything about financial freedom. I was financially free years ago through property. It is nothing to do with the money. The money is just keeping score. It's like a scorecard, the competition. So make sure that if that's what you want, great, follow your heart, follow your dreams, but don't have an ego. Just because it's my dream doesn't mean it's yours. So it goes back to understanding why in the first place, anchoring that into a financial discipline method, and following your own dreams. So as I said, if you started in property or got your own portfolio and you're that archaic person on a spreadsheet, get into the 21st century, jump on Lendlord. The link is below. It is completely free. And I promise you, try it for 2 weeks. It will completely change your dynamic of your portfolio. If you're new to property and you're interested in buy-to-lets and anything property education, make sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell. And if you got value, hit the like on the way to the next video.